What's going on? What a joyous Sunday afternoon, Coach Madonna. Let's talk a little bit about the happenings on Friday night. In particular, we come away with a victory. You have to be happy about that.
Absolutely. It's hard to win high school football games, as we all know. So anytime you can come out with a victory, especially in week one, it's awesome. It's a great feeling. We obviously know there's a lot to work on. We have 9 weeks left to get to where we want to be as far as a finished product. So we know we're not going to be a finished product week one, but to face a team that beat us 35-3 last year, and it just shows the commitment and the preparation that our young men had to be able to come out and have a good game and get a victory in front of a really nice crowd on a great evening, great weather, Hall of Fame night. So we had a lot of veterans and alumni in the building. So very happy.
You can watch the entire replay at ShawneeCTV.com or on the Facebook page or YouTube page. We want you to go over there. One bit of housekeeping. I was a little bit confused if we were playing Duncan next week or Ardmore next week. We are going to be at Ardmore next week. So I want to clarify that up front as well. It was our first night too, Coach. And man, what a joy it was. It looked like from the onset, we were in control of that game, even on a first drive, which was the only punt of the half, in which we were moving the ball if we didn't have a mistake.
Absolutely. We came out. We know that our veterans, our offensive line, all five guys have played, started for us last year or played at different points. And so we really leaned on them. And we decided that we wanted to set the tone early. So we came out in our heavy package on first down, and Kadarius Palmer took a really long run. Now we had a mishap. One of our players got a little bit too excited on the sideline and stepped just enough forward to where he made contact with an official. So we had to get some of those yards back, which is unfortunate. But I feel like we set the tone early up front for our offensive line to dominate. And, we rushed for 383 yards on the night. So I very pleased with that number, very happy with the performance of those guys up front. And we were able to control the pace. I really thought our speed defensively would be an issue for them, and it served to be in the first half. They had trouble blocking us to where we were able to make some plays in the backfield and slow down their offense. And, we ended up having a bad snap right there, which if we throw it away and we're in a little bit different field position, maybe we go for it. But it didn't work out like that, so we did have to punt, play field position early on. But I like the way our kids responded.
Oh man, I do too. I'm with you. I was like, "Oh, come on, Braylon, throw it out, throw it out of bounds." And I something that I think that's the epitome of is that was a good microcosm for the game. We were dominant. I mean, if we didn't stop ourselves, we were dominant. But the encouraging thing is in week one, we still remain humble because there was a lot of things that we could fix. A lot of things that happened that we could fix. And so just so proud of those guys. And we mentioned that line and we talk about some of them, but tell me, who were the starters out there? I think you had snuck Logan out there. Chuffy was out there. Kendall was out there. Of course, your two big men were out there. Who was I missing? Was Serena out there?
Yeah. Rosario Serena was he was the left guard. Yeah, Chuffy Waldron, left tackle, and Kendall at center, Kendall Gilham at center, and then Cade Bramlage and Jaquan Evans at right guard, right tackle. And we brought in Logan in our heavy package to be an extra fullback with some guys, and we bring in some extra linemen, offensive linemen, Boston Stripling being one, Jace Bullock being a tight end on the other side to kind of elongate, create more gaps, make them have to flatten out their defense, not create levels. And so as you see from that first play, once you get into the secondary, it's a very difficult formation to stop.
And with the talent you have in the backfield, my man, you had four guys back there with Braylon, KD, the big time, I want to say McClendon and Ty. Pardon me? Travion. Yeah, and Travion. I mean, it's hard to keep up with who you're handing that ball off to, or you're sliding it out to the side. All of them can catch as well.
Yeah, they can. They're really talented. So trying to split out the ratio of carries between them is is a challenge, but it's a blessing because they get to stay fresh for later in the game. And I think that showcase we were able to run the ball efficiently in the fourth quarter and kind of seal the victory late. So
Mhm.
especially after some adversity and some turmoil and a turnover, and that led to another score. And so being able to do that and finish out the game on a positive note, and then push it away to where it's unreachable at the end using the ground game is a big testament to just how talented those guys are.
Yeah, it was interesting up front. It just looked like we could overpower them, and our backs were talented. Defense, let's just go on over to defense in the first half. Dude, Blitch has it going on, man. We've got some players over there. And, having Jaquan and Logan right in the middle, I think really sets the tone.
It does, and those are two big, powerful young men. And the good thing is we got Logan coming back again next year, and we've got some younger players we feel good about. And Jaquan has really done an amazing job to get himself into shape to where he can stay on the field the whole game. Even late in the game, I don't think he got tired. And so that's a big testament to his work ethic and what he's willing to do. And then just the speed that surround those guys, man. You just look at everywhere you look, there's guys flying to the football, creating plays, creating penetration in the backfield to where they just couldn't get a downhill look at it from their run game. So, and then the creative genius that is Coach Blitz and bringing them from all different angles. And I'm
Mhm.
standing over on the sideline excited that I don't have to prepare for it.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, so talking about underclassmen, golly, I just had his name, big number 24, Story Riley, right
Yeah.
off the bat. Then also we've got McKee, just a sophomore, but then Nolan Roard. Dude, you are so solid up front.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys, except for Jaquan, are coming back.
Yeah.
And Jason Smith, another senior that made some big
Mhm.
time plays for us. And so just the speed of those guys up there. Travion had a couple sacks and big
Mhm.
time tackles in the backfield at the Rob position, which he's a senior as well. So we have a good mix of underclassmen and seniors up front, and the speed really caused Putnam City North some problems.
So talk a little bit about Nolan and about Mackey, how you like them in the middle handling the defense, because they're the ones handling the calls most of the time.
Yeah, and the good thing about those two guys is they love football. They're dedicated. They watch a lot of film. They're constantly with their position coach and with Coach Blitz and trying to figure out the right way to get lined up and where to be. And that's not to say they're not going to make mistakes or they didn't make mistakes, but just the passion that those guys bring. You saw it from very early on. I think the very first play,
Mhm.
Nolan comes in untouched and makes a TFL in the backfield. Really sets the tone. And the good thing about it is, they're underclassmen, but and they've played a lot of football. Nolan has. He's played a lot of football with us. He's a freshman when we started here, and then Cade comes over and he's just a sophomore, and he had played majority of defensive line growing up, and we kind of saw his athleticism and his vision, and decided to put him at linebacker and allow him to just go run and and he made some plays.
He sure did. Now let's hit those two seniors with Jaden Smith and Travion. I really thought, Logan and Jaquan in the middle, I really thought set the standard, but Travion out there at the side, man, you've got to be excited about your outside backers. We've already seen what Jaden can do. And with Travion, he might have been the player of the game. And we're going to talk about that. I hope you have a player of the game ready for us. But that was just phenomenal to see Travion out there with the TFLs you're talking about.
It was, and he's new to the position. He hadn't played a lot in that position, and he flew around, made some plays, and did what he was supposed to do, and so it's just exciting to see him kind of get unleashed, so to speak. We had him in the spring, and he did a really good job during spring practice and team camp, and so to see him on a Friday night, and he carried the ball 7 times, had 8.5 tackles, 3 sacks and an interception, I believe. So, he had a great stat line and he played awesome. I think his history playing running back helps him see vision and where to attack defensively.
I would agree with that. And Jaden Smith, you know, for a while we thought we might have lost Jaden, transferring to a different school, but he comes back and he's not in his football shape yet. We're just seeing a shell of the man that young man is. He comes away with a big interception at a big time for our team. Talk a little bit about Jaden.
Yeah, yeah. You know, he's just kind of the quiet assassin. You know, he just likes to play football, and so he had a spring where he wasn't necessarily around the whole time, but he came back this summer and really put in work to get himself available to play, and came in off the bench Friday night and really contributed a lot. And you know, he's just a guy with a high motor, and he knows how to find the football, and so it's a huge asset to have him on our side.
When we start talking about Braylon Laster, it was fun, first of all, to see him jump out there to receive the kick. And you guys have been talking about that he plays a little bit of everywhere. But then again, you see him at quarterback and you're like, oh, wow, we get what the coaches is saying. He is a special, special player with the ball in his hands. But watching him cover, I mean, he's out there one-on-one the entire game, and he is in the pocket of their best receiver.
Yeah, he's a physical football player. You saw in the first punt return, he gets a knockdown block, you know, and then goes out. He's physical with the wide receiver, sometimes too much. He got a little holding call out there, but you know, and he's a good athlete. He's a real emotional young man. I think you see that in his style of play, but he's also a guy that he's okay with the responsibility of having that pressure put on him, and he responds. So. And he's a big energy guy. He's always talking. He's always talking up the offensive line and hyping them up and communicating to his receivers. And so we need to be a little bit more efficient in the pass game with our downfield shots. I don't think we connected on them, but some of that, you know, is just going to come with as we continue to develop relationships with those guys and with him and his receivers. But I thought he managed the game well. I thought he responded well. He had 2 turnovers where he fumbled the football, and he came right back and led us on drives the following possession. So he didn't let it get it down and get in his head. Now we will work ball security moving forward a lot more. But some of it, you know, is uncontrollable. Like he hurdles the kid and just, you know, happens to kick the ball out of his own hand. But and then the other one on a scramble when he's trying to get yards and prevent from being sacked. But I thought he did a really good job Friday night of controlling the offense and trying to make plays.
A guy who came out of really nowhere, I think, for everybody in the stands was KD. Kadarius Palmer. Dude, tell us his story. Tell us what he's about. He, on both sides of the ball, talking about a physical, talented athlete. We have one in KD.
Yeah, you didn't get to see a lot of him in the preseason. He'd been kind of nursing a lower body injury, and so he finally got healthy. He didn't play in the first round of scrimmages, and then sparingly in the second scrimmage. And so to be able to kind of unleash him and for him to showcase his ability, he's a really hard runner, and when he sticks his foot in the ground and get north and south, he's pretty fast. And then he's able to cover well on defense, and he's still getting acclimated to everything that we do here, but he's a talented young man. I think he's going to open the eyes to a lot of colleges here this season.
Okay, Coach, I know you've got some stats in front of you now. I'd like you to start looking at those a little bit. Tell us some of the names and some of the stats that you really, really like.
Yeah, well, just, you know, our rushing, how we were able to control the ball on the ground. Kadarius, KD, he led the way with 13 carries and 164 yards. So you're looking at a little over 12 yards a carry, which is really, really efficient, especially at the high school level. And, you know, we kind of feature him in our heavy package, and we just we trust our big bodies. You know, you're talking about Caden Bramlage, Jaquan Evans are both 6'6", 285, and both have Division I commits. And then Logan Skelton as the fullback, who's our 6'3" nose guard, who if I was a linebacker or defensive back, I don't think I would want to take on that block either. And so when we seal up that side and get Kadarius going north and south, we're able to have some success, especially late there in the fourth quarter. And then you look at the footwork ability of Braylon Lassiter with 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kadarius also had 2 touchdowns. And then, you know, he got loose a couple times early on, but Tate McClendon, you know, we saw his ability and his speed when he gets north and south on the first touchdown of the season. when he takes it and gets loose in the secondary and makes people miss, and we had a 34-yard touchdown run. So, we've got some talented guys back there. We've got some options, which hopefully creates problems for opposing defenses.
Well, talking about opposing defenses, we're going to move on now after we talk a little bit about that team meal that happened over at St. Benedict's. St. Benedict's Fall Festival, of course, coming up the first weekend in October. Always so much fun. Granny's Attic, the best, I like to say, for our family. Garage sale that happens in our community anytime throughout the year. Granny's Attic opening at 9 a.m. All the festivities really kick off at 10 a.m. It is a family fun event, and we want to invite everybody out there. And Coach, talk a little bit about St. Benedict's and their crew that welcomed you guys for the team meal. Let us know a little bit about the food. Was the food any good? How's that going for you?
Man, it's an absolute blessing. It really shows the support this community has for us. St. Benedict's being we share the neighborhood with them in the stadium. So then to open their doors and give us a place where we can go and sit down and just have some fellowship and some brotherhood amongst our players and get a quality meal the night before a game. It's been an absolute blessing. And it's nice for us coaches too, just to be able to sit down and share a meal together and just talk about, the game the next day or fantasy football or just have fellowship and have brotherhood. And so for them to open their doors up for us and allow us to do that is a huge blessing. And all the different organizations that come in and partner with them to help feed us. And we had a nice spaghetti dinner with garlic bread, salad. The salad had fresh vegetables in it. Because I'm a big fan of tomatoes and olives and bell peppers. My daughter's not, but that's okay. And then it's just a great opportunity. I think our young men do a good job of, being polite and saying thank you and cleaning up after themselves. And it kind of caps off the week with just a nice opportunity just to kind of sit down and take a deep breath before the craziness of Friday night.
Well, Coach, it's something that I dearly appreciate of you and what you're doing for our kids, you implementing that last year. And then, I love it that you keep it right there in the neighborhood. It's not like they're bouncing around, not sure where they're going. It's like they have a home on Thursday nights. And thank you to St. Benedict's for that. They've really come through. The ones that I've been able to visit, it's really helped me to get to know what kind of great kids you've got. And so how about that? Is there enough food that perhaps, if a parent wants to show up or maybe a couple of people want to come over and get to know the kids a little bit, can we handle that?
I believe so. In our spaghetti dinner, there was enough for all the people that helped to sit down and eat afterwards. And so it's a really nice event. It's a great atmosphere,
Yeah.
that they're able to open that up for us and allow us to sit in there, and they don't rush us out either. So we sit down and have conversations. Sometimes you get to laughing and enjoying each other's company, and you lose sight of time. But I believe so. They got a different meal for us every night, and the kids always ask, "What do we have? And what do we have?" And I never tell them, so I let them be surprised. But no, it's awesome, and it's just anytime that you can have fellowship with your team outside of the framework of football is a
Mhm.
blessing. Just allow them to grow and unite together.
Well, we are in the framework of football now, and we've got a tough Ardmore team coming up. Now they're a class below us, but they're a team. They're one of those schools that are kind of like Shawnee in the sense of size wise and just the kids that they have, and it's always a good test with Ardmore. What do we anticipate to see from Ardmore? What have you been able to notice now over the last 20 hours with some film in your hand?
Yeah, so that Coach Newby down there, he does a really good job. He's been there for several years, and going down there is a special place for me because that's where we got our first win as we took over here in Shawnee, a 14-14 ball game. And we were fortunate with John Ryan High. We were able to get an interception return for a touchdown to give us the lead, and then Dietrich Beavers was able to intercept it and secure the victory their junior year. And so it's a cool environment. It's a nice long road trip. You're looking at about a 90-minute to a 2-hour drive on a bus and head south on 177. And it's a great test for us. Preseason, you like to be tested with different styles. So we saw a wide open, pretty traditional offense in Putnam City North, and now we're going to go see the Flex Bone and some Power Eye down there in Ardmore with a group that's really grown together. The first time we saw them in 2023, they played a lot of young players. They played a lot of sophomores, a lot of freshmen, and now those kids are all grown up. And so they've played a couple tough opponents their first couple weeks, so they're going to be hungry to secure a non-district victory, and so they're going to give us their best effort. They're big and physical, both their offensive tackles. Similar to us, are large humans, 6'3", 6'4", 300 pounds, and they bring a lot of force. And their quarterback, who's really grown up in that system, makes some really good plays with his feet and his hand in that triple option system. So we're going to have to be extremely disciplined defensively. We don't have the size across the board that we did. You graduate a guy like Jamar Favors and Demario Joyner and Nokos Wasana, and we replace it with some younger guys who this may be the first time they're going to see something like this. And so that's great. We accept the challenge. We really like it. Defensively, they've got really good athletes in the back end, and they're pretty quick and physical up front. So it's going to be present a unique challenge for us, and we're excited for it.
What about any changes on our side? Do you see any changes that you foresee or more of the same?
No, I don't see any change. Now we'll make adjustments scheme wise based on what they give us, and kind of call our plays depending on what's available. So, but as far as like any type of major changes, you won't see any. We're pretty dedicated to what we do. We feel like we had a good plan going into the season to try to give our kids an opportunity for success. So now the goal is just continuous improvement. Get better at it week in and week out. We understand that we have a lot of growth to happen in these next couple of weeks before we get to district play. So we'll spend this week doing that, and then we'll have an opportunity for another test Friday night to see how we're improving.
So in the stadium, so hyped up from the beginning all the way to halftime. And then in the second half, we really had some adversity hit, Coach, and you just kind of felt it deflate, even on the stands. Just a few mistakes or penalties. How have you talked to the kids? How are you addressing that? And what do you think moving forward it's going to take? Because when you come across really good teams, when you start going into the district play and you get to the better teams, mistakes are what determine wins and losses.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're blessed to be able to come out with a victory. And we talked all week. My message to them was it's not about talent, it's not about effort, because we have that, but it's going to be how we respond when things don't go well. And we talked about that all week long. What do we do when adversity faces? And I was really proud of them because we discussed it all week. And when that happened, when we had a fumble and then we gave up another touchdown, and we go from 19-0 feeling pretty secure about the victory to now all of a sudden we got Hans team on the field and we're trying to recover an onside to secure the lead. And so I like it. I like us putting that adverse situation, because at some point it's going to happen again. And now we know that we can respond and recover from it and stay together and come out for victory. So as a coach, especially early in the season, I welcome that type of challenge, and feel very fortunate that we're still able to win facing it. But the way that they responded, the way that they handled the tough situation, defensively, they found something for their offense against us. The quarterback was able to kind of step up in the pocket and scramble and dump it off to the back and then find some open receivers, and they were able to move the ball, and then they got us for a couple touchdowns there in the second half. And so our kids didn't flinch. They just kept playing. They made adjustments. They kept playing, and we were able to secure a victory. So very proud of that. I welcomed all the adversity and stuff, because that gives us an opportunity to teach them how to get better.
So we had 2 interceptions on the back end on the defensive side. I'd like you to hit me with those rushing numbers again, and then also give us the number that we had Braylon as far as passing, because, we were nearly 400 yards between the 4 backs. Let's hear all of them again, and then also what our passing stats were with Braylon.
So total, we were 48 attempts for 383 yards. So we rushed about 8 yards a carry, which our goal is 6. So we accomplished our goal. We feel like if we average 6 yards a carry, we have an opportunity to win the football game. So we did that. Kadarius had 13 carries for 164 yards and 2 touchdowns. Braylon, 18 carries for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tate McClendon, 10 carries for 77 yards and a touchdown. And Travion had 7 carries for 44 yards. He's just a good change of pace back, give Tate an opportunity to catch his best breath, but he had a great night defensively. And then we were 9-15 for 103 yards passing, which, in a game where you control the ground game like that, your passing numbers are probably not going to jump out. But the biggest thing about that is we didn't turn the ball over in the passing game. We did fumble twice, which we got to clean that up. Ball security issue there. But I think in the passing game, we have to take what's available. And then we have to connect when we have guys run open deep. And there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just the throw and catch, but it's the protection, it's the movement in the pocket, it's the landing point of the routes. And so we'll continue to work on that because we have some dynamic receivers that eventually we're going to need them to showcase their skills. And Ramel, Jaden Hunt, and Dylan Simmons, Drake Estala, like we've got some talent out on the edge too. And so those guys, when they get the opportunity to get the ball in their hands, they're going to make something special happen.
Number 12, Simmons was another one who jumped out kind of out of nowhere, really showed his stuff on both sides of the ball. You had him at corner or safety on the defensive side, and I really liked him in the passing game. He was sure-handed and did very well. So to me, that's close to 500 yards. I mean, it sounds like 480 plus yards of offense. Coach, man, you must be thankful for McGuire over there. What about that man calling those plays?
Yeah, he did an amazing job. He did a really good job, which I knew he's capable of. That's why I felt comfortable.
He's an Irishman. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only him, but our entire offensive staff, Coach Bullock, Coach Harrison, Coach Brown, Coach Henshaw, those guys did a really good job of preparing our kids for the type of defense that we were going to see. And so we're really lucky here in Shawnee. We're really fortunate. We've got some great guys that work with our kids and that try to hold them accountable and teach them the right way to do things and prepare them for football and prepare them for life. And that what's cool is when you hear guys that have moved on and gone to college and they call back and they say, I'm ready for this because of what you guys did for us. And that's awesome. And I feel like we do that here. So very proud of my staff, very proud of the way the game management went for them, just the communication piece that they have with each other and how they're able to relay information in a timely manner. And so none of this is possible because of Jason Madonna, I promise you. I'm just the guy who gets to walk up and down the sidelines and cheer on everybody that's working hard on Friday nights.
Well, in humility, there's strength. And I want to tell you, I'm very proud of you. I remember your first couple of days on this side with Shawnee, meeting you and your wife over there at Hardesty's. And man, it's been a road, and you have been a soldier, and you have been a wonderful leader for our kids. The kids, when I see their eyes looking at you, I just see the love that you're bringing, and there's no greater power than love. So to you, hats off. I want to thank you for taking your time to visit with all of us. And again, I want to invite everybody to come on down to Ardmore. Shawnee travels well. Shawnee travels proud. Come on and have a good time, because there's no better entertainment value than high school sports. For Jason Madonna, I'm Daniel Shaughnessy, and we are ShawneeCTV, where together, all of us, Shawnee, we build community one season at a time. Coach, thank